seeing as we've mentioned him, let's talk about Bottas.
Okay.
Because obviously he ties into this. Because the thing is, what should have been a battle for Bottas to win,
Yeah.
he just wasn't in the picture.
Mm.
Right off the start, he managed to hold on to the lead. So that was encouraging that he was able to, make it stick. He didn't get a poor start, or he didn't lose it into turn one or anything
It
like that.
looked really promising.
But he didn't really pull away with any noticeable distance. He was able, he wasn't really able to hold anyone out behind him out of DRS range. And I think that Hamilton, lap 20, eventually got past him for the lead, which was a brilliant move. I mean, it was a really good move. I know we saw, like you say, a lot of movements going into that first corner because it is this really long straight after a sweeping corner with a DRS zone. Like the DRS is extremely powerful there, especially when the wind gets behind them as well because it's going downhill and everything.
And this year they've shortened it as well, haven't they? It's 125 meters shorter this year, which is crazy to think how powerful it was last year.
Yeah, well, I love the look of the cars emerging from the heat haze at the top of the main straight. They had a few shots of that where they just kind of like emerge out of the. It looks great. I love that. But yeah, a great move from Hamilton to get past Bottas. It didn't even really look that possible at first because he'd taken it all the way down to the point of the turning of the corner. He had this quick jink to the left and then threw it to the right to make it round. And good work to get in front before the pit stops as well.
Yes.
But Bottas, again, just very passive on the defence. And it was exactly the same when Verstappen got past him as well. Verstappen got past him after Bottas had just come out of the pits. Now, Bottas was on fresh tyres. Obviously his rubber would have been pretty cold. But they're coming up onto that second DRS zone. Verstappen hadn't got past by that point. He had to take most of the straight to make that move happen. Why doesn't Bottas just move over to the left? Just make it difficult for him. Verstappen would have no problem doing the same thing to him.
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't think twice about it.
Just sits there and lets it happen. That's why you're getting overtaken, mate. You're just kind of letting it happen, it looks like. I mean, I know that in the car that he's not letting it happen, but that's what it looks like compared to other drivers fighting for those positions. And the takeaway for me from this race was Bottas did not deserve to win. He did very well to get that pole lap. It was a great lap, but if you're going to drive with such passivity during the race, like, you don't deserve to win.
No, I agree. And this was one of my talking points. So I'll just go through a couple of the highlights and the lowlights of what I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, he did a fantastic job on Saturday. Let's not take that away. He came from the ashes of the last 2 weeks and from a terrible, couple of seasons, and really he stuck it on pole, which was a massive statement. It was a great statement. Would it have been faster? Well, obviously we know it wasn't faster than Lewis's Q2 lap, but you've got to do it on the day at the right time to get pole position, and that's exactly what Bottas did. And the engineer came over the radio and said that was hard work, and Bottas was like, yes, but we've been training. We've been preparing for this. He's not afraid of hard work, and I don't doubt that at all. He's been putting in what seems like thousands of hours into like mental and physical preparation for this season. But you're going up against the best in the world, so you've really got to be the best in the world. But
he still seems remarkably kind of calm despite the amount of pressure. I mean, credit to him for that. He does have a lot of mental strength. It doesn't seem like he kind of necessarily capitulates in some big way. It's more just that last little element of je ne sais quoi, something special that allows him to really be aggressive and really fight when he needs to hold on to those positions that he's just not doing, that someone like Verstappen or Hamilton will do.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. He hasn't shown any signs of, or it hasn't wobbled at all, has he? He's still quite in control of his emotions and his thoughts, especially coming off the back of last weekend. He handled himself very well. But like we said previous times on this podcast, no points for Saturday until the sprint races later on in the year. But that's a whole different situation.
Not many points, though.
Not many points, but it's a whole different topic, and I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point in the future. Points are won on Sunday, and he started off in the best position, and he needed to finish P1. This was his time to shine. We've had Lewis win, we've had Max win. In the other order, we had Max win and then Lewis win, and this was time for Bottas to be the third person on the podium, or the third race winner this year, and it just didn't happen. And I'm not surprised. It's really bad, but I saw on social media before, like, a lot of people say, is Bottas really is he gonna bottle it? This is his best chance this year of a race win. He's starting in arguably the fastest car on the grid, technically looking at Saturday. And he's starting in the best position and in a track which is relatively difficult to overtake, because actually most of the overtakes were done into turn 1 or at the back of turn of the second DRS straight, which I believe is turn 5, the left-hander. But he got off to such a good start, and I thought, here we go. This is great for Bottas. We're going to have a third race winner. Hamilton was struggling to catch him. They were all staying within that set period of each other. DRS was opened up, and still we had a bit of a train, which was great. They were all within a second of each other. I think the top 3 were separated by 1.8 seconds for like a good handful of laps, which is really good. And then he just lost it. He dropped it on Max, and then obviously Lewis overtook him, and then Lewis got Max. It was just a shame. He just went backwards. And this guy's got to be fighting for the World Championship. He's not got many other years in the Mercedes. I'm not sure what his current contract is. I think it's just this year. I think both of them are up this year.
I think so, yeah.
But you can't have that many years in Formula One, and that's not because of his talent. It's because it's such a fast-moving sport. People come and go without, even if you've got a contract, that can be broken. We've seen that happen before.
Unless your name's Kimi Räikkönen.
Unless your time's Kimi Räikkönen or Fernando Alonso, and you'll be back. Kimi Räikkönen's just been in it forever. But yeah, it's just disappointing to see him go from P1 to P3. It would have been a bad weekend if he dropped it to P2 and Max would have won or Lewis would have won, but to drop it into P3 and have no fighting chance towards the end. And I'm taking out the bit where he had a exhaust sensor issue and he dropped back 5 seconds in the space of a lap. Up until that point, he was 2 seconds for at least 10 laps, dipping into the 1.5s, but also falling behind again. I don't think the move would have been on.
No, it didn't really look like it.
No, and his defense as well. It's just like you said, it's not there. He just made it so easy. He had a bit of a wobble going into turn 2 and turn 3. But like you said, he could have pushed Max quite far over to the left, which would have given Bottas the racing line into that left-hander. But he just kept it on the right-hand side and thought, you know what, Bottas, come on through, mate. If I can't beat Lewis, maybe you can. I just don't know. He just
held it on the side of the track.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah,
and I think that it was emblematic as well of that difference between those two drivers as well, because as soon as Hamilton got into the lead, a lap later,
he was
already out of DRS range, and he was there complaining about tyres, and he's there going, "Bono, my tyres," the usual sort of Lewis Hamilton complaints. But no, he's already gone, and I know neither car had pitted by that point, so Bottas just clearly could not do what Hamilton was doing.
Not to mention we had Toto on the radio again. Come on, Bottas, you're the fastest car on the grid. Let's go. You don't hear that. You don't hear Toto on the radio to Hamilton unless it. The last time I heard Toto on the radio to Hamilton was the Nico Lewis kind of era when they're fighting on track, bashing wheels, knocking off bits of carbon fibre, and they're being told to hold position. But to have Toto on the radio for the second week in a row, giving that positive encouragement, which, to be fair, in one aspect, it's a very nice gesture. But in the other aspect, it's like, I'm telling you to hurry up. You need to put your foot down. Like, let's get a move on because Mercedes aren't bulletproof this year. Red Bull are here and they're going to do everything they possibly can. And there's going to be some hard racing going forward. And Red Bull are going to be hard racing to get every single point they can to at least try and challenge the Constructors' Championship. Because if Bottas isn't performing the way he needs to, those points will go straight to Mercedes.
Yeah, and Perez has shown that he's
straight to Red Bull, sorry. Yeah,
he's got
exactly.
what it takes. Because when we saw Perez leading the race, he was getting caught up. He was on those old mediums. Yeah. But he was able to really quite solidly hold on to that position, lead the race. I mean, Hamilton was so wired in, so focused, that he was calling blue flags over the radio when he was coming up to Perez. He didn't even realise that Perez was leading. Probably so used to seeing Albon and lapping him.
Oh, blimey. Shots fired. It's a different year. Leave the man alone. Yeah. But no, I get what you mean.
But yeah, I just think that in terms of that decision, Red Bull have clearly made the right one. Perez is a different driver and was, that decision has been vindicated at the very least. But yeah, you're right. Like, the Red Bull are going to do absolutely everything they can. They do have the machinery now. Thus far, it is still advantage Mercedes, but as far as Bottas is concerned, he's got to just keep on digging. But I don't want to be too pessimistic about the guy, but I don't see what else he can do. He just doesn't seem to have. I don't see a driver really, really fighting to the same level as the people that he should and indeed could be competing with.
Yeah,
I
as
can't imagine Hamilton or Verstappen just letting someone blow past them in a DRS zone
no,
like that.
no, and not even try and move. Like he just put no defense up whatsoever. Like, it was very passive, and we've seen it before. We've seen it when he's been faster than the cars in front of him, and he looks at taking the move, and just doesn't, or just back out at the last minute because he doesn't want to cause a scene or doesn't want to cause an incident.
And funnily enough, that worked in his favour last week
It
because
did
he kind of did the
exactly.
gentlemanly thing and didn't squeeze Russell.
Yep.
But maybe he should be doing that kind of thing. Maybe that is it. He didn't do it, but maybe that's what he should be doing.
Maybe he should be, but maybe he shouldn't have been in P10 and racing a Williams
Yeah,
in
well,
the middle of the grid. You know,
that much is true as well.
it's we could talk about Bottas all
Yeah,
day. To be fair,
let's
and
ease up on the guy. To be honest, I mean, he did
I mean,
end up getting the fastest lap at least.
he's without a doubt a really fast driver. I just don't know if he has the drive to challenge for the championship. And so far this year, we haven't seen it. And hopefully next week in Spain, he qualifies P1, which would be great, and challenges challenges for the actual race win. Or if he finishes P2, let's make it a close finish instead of just boxing and going for the fastest lap.
Yeah, because there's a huge gap
Because there's
between
27
everyone,
seconds between you and someone else.
yeah, it's just the inevitable is happening.
Mm.
But yeah, so that's Bottas, and not the greatest week for him. It was a chance for him to really prove what he had, and he just didn't really do that.